magic drink. Let's see.
Pay for my beer with chip implant.
What? No way. No way.
We in June! Ain't no microchips! It's June!
Pain with a chip implanted in my hand.
Fueling up my car with chip implant.
Paying with my hand at a restaurant in Bosnia.
In your hand.
It's a chip.
In your hand.
It's a chip.
In your hand.
Chip.
In your hand.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today were known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about that video we've just seen that shows a man traveling throughout Europe, right, Bosnia and I'm sure some other places, with the MOTB, the mark of the beast, okay? And that mark, to clarify, is an implantable RFID chip. Now, that man's chip inside of him wasn't the actual MOTB, but it is what the MOTB will actually be. You see, even though he has an RFID chip and he himself has implanted it with whatever program he installed into it, that is of his own making. Okay, this is not the beast's mark, right? But pretty soon, right, and we're already seeing the wheels in motion, right? The policies being set, the activities take place, which are ultimately going to lead to these governments, this now emerging world government, the New World Order, from issuing a mandate that all in the society, right, every man, every woman, every child, every old person has to have an implantable RFID microchip, just like this man here, okay? And that right there is going to be the MOTB. That's going to be the event that has been waiting thousands of years to occur. You see, like I read right here, what we have just seen is the vision, is the events which were described in Revelation 13:16, which is what Habakkuk is saying here, right? That the visions spoken about in the Bible, particular visions, right? One being what we just seen, that even though it's going to take a long time for it to come, that it will come in a particular time, right? And that it will speak, right? Meaning that you will know exactly what it is, right? See, because thousands of years ago, back when John the Revelator had that vision on Patmos while he was in exile, right, at the salt mines, he had this vision, and he had seen people giving their hands or their foreheads over to the beast, so that way they could have a mark, an implant placed into them, right? And then he also understood that this would be a significant sign of them handing over their souls to the beast and joining themselves onto the beast, right? And that right there is why you cannot be saved, because if you take that mark of the beast, like it tells you in Revelations 14, that you will receive utter damnation. You will be destroyed along with the beast because you are now part of it. Okay? And this is the vision that for 1,000 years people have been trying to figure out what this vision was. Well, they couldn't, because back hundreds, thousands of years, nobody understood about the technology that we have today, right? They thought that the mark of the beast was going to be a firebrand, right? And a tattoo, right? Some sort of cutting in your hand, kind of like how you would cut or brand slaves, right? They didn't understand. Just like John, he couldn't really, conceive what an RFID microchip was, right? What technology scanning was, right? What an NFC chip was, right? All he knew was that it was something that was placed, it was an incision, it was a cutting in your hand, right? Because all he would see is people getting a little needle, well, actually it's a big needle, put it in their hand, and I'm not, and then I'm sure he's seen something about with them getting it installed in their, or inserted into their foreheads, right? Now, the thing is even though back then this warning, let's actually get it real quick. But this warning, Revelations 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That's 666, right? See, he had this vision, this warning. Nobody really understood it, not until these modern times, right? And even now, like you heard Bishop Nathaniel from the IUIC saying it's June, there's no microchips, right? See, a lot of people don't even understand in this time what the scriptures are saying, because they don't understand the Bible. They haven't been given the faith and the Holy Spirit, which is the understanding of the Bible, to understand that the RFID microchip is the MOTB, right? But Kahala Yabash Mashai, that we have the apostles, we have the elders, we have the fellow brethren who are out there who are telling the truth, telling the world that, to be on the lookout, that this is the mark of the beast, right? And that's what I'm doing right now, right? I wanted to give clear examples to you, Akim and Akwathiam out there, to, that this is where we're going, right? Right now, it is simply a fad that a few are pushing. But as you've seen that man in Bosnia, that waiter, right? When he said, it's in your hand? And the guy said, yeah. And he started laughing. Like, what did the waiter said? No, probably wanted to offend or lose his job. He just rolled his eyes and been like, and gave that exhale as in disbelief, because it's ridiculous that people would go through such lengths to do that so that way they don't have to pull out a credit card, right? But you see, this is ultimately why it is a work of Satan, right? Because the demons, the spirit on these Edomites, they're getting pushed to do this, right? Yeah, it's a small, insignificant convenience, but it's the act itself which is important, which is why these devils are going to make it try to seem like it is the next best thing to sliced bread, right? And pretty soon, it's, it will catch on to some, and there's going to be a lot of wicked people who are going to take it on, which is why right now you're always seeing people who are embroiled in the tattoo, body modification scenes, who are usually wicked themselves, right? They're covered in demons and spirits that do this, right? But pretty soon it's going to be your everyday Mary Jane, and your average John Doe who's going to get this, man. And it's going to eventually become a mandatory part of society, to live in society, to buy, to sell, to show your ID, to verify that you're not sick, right? This is what's going to be required for you to live in the society, right? This is what that guy, that Edomite devil, I forgot his name, he made that quote saying that nobody's going to enter into the New World Order without making a pledge to Lucifer. This 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And that's ultimately it's one of Satan's devices, right? It's a tool, not only the RFID chip, but even this video of a man going around showing the conveniences and how cool it is, the marketing, that right there is a device of Satan to try to build up popularity and notoriety for his coming mark of the beast, right? But again, a lot of people aren't going to know this, right? Some people will see that video and be like, "Oh, that's wicked. That's the devil's mark," or that's they're just going to have an innate unease about watching the video. People like that waiter, right? He didn't know why. He thought it was so crazy, but he knew it was, And who knows? Maybe he does know about the mark of the beast and he recognized it. But the majority of people that will see this will not understand what they're seeing, and they're going to think it's cool. This is 2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of the Messiah, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. And you see this? You see how that God is in a small g? That's talking about these Edomites, the so-called white man, right? Because he is the God upon this earth, okay? He can do godlike things. And one of those godlike things he's going to do is he's going to make this crazy technology, which is going to look like miracles, where you could buy something, you could make something appear over, invisible space, right? So that way you could just a wave of your hand, and now you've made a machine process certain information, and now you can walk out with something that you bought. You're going to be able to receive money invisibly. You're going to be able to identify yourself, trade information. Okay, all these things, man. These are going to be the things that people who are lost, who are not even aware of this, are going to look for, right? So this is my advice to you, Akim and Akwathium, right? I know a lot of our friends, family, and loved ones don't believe in this truth, but you should at least warn them about this coming microchip, which they will be required to take in the society, right? And they should at least know that there is a consequence for taking it, right? The consequence of them being destroyed, right? In this nuclear fire which will come upon America, okay? Because again, it's one thing to see the video we just seen and have no biblical understanding of what it is, right? And people may think, hey, that's cool. That that looks like it'll help, right? Or it'll help me in my daily life. I want to carry keys. I want to carry my credit cards. I'll always have it with me, right? But the thing is, if you were to be told that in the future that you will be asked to take a microchip in your right hand or your forehead, and that mark would be a sign of you joining on to Satan, and that which would ultimately lead to your destruction when the Lord comes back, then people would have second thoughts about it. When they see it, when they hear it announced on the news, when they see the government has now made it a mandatory requirement to live in society, then that thought, that reminder that you had told them, right, will ring out in their head, and they'll think about what they're actually going to do. Now again, some, even though they know what it is, because of how much of a coward they are, or because how they just don't believe, they don't have the faith, they will end up getting it. And that ultimately will be upon them, and not on you or any of us who have warned the people. This is 1 Peter 5 and 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And that's for us, Akim. We have to be sober and vigilant in these times, man. All these distractions, all these laws being revoked, all these things going on in the news, from the burning down of food resources to the introduction of freaking air burgers. All these things are all the devil, walking around, seeing who he can devour, who he can entrap with his snares. Alright, so again, stay up, Akim. Hopefully this video was edifying. Till the next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, B'Shem Rakok Dash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.